All right, guys, super pumped up to welcome this guy to the Stacking Pennies studio. This man has raced in the Cup Series for 4 years, and he has competed for a championship in half of them. 2017 Truck Series champion right here in the studio, Mr. Christopher Bell.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys.
Big week, my friend.
Congrats, buddy.
I appreciate that.
How
It
you
is
feeling?
a very big week.
How you feeling?
Probably about like you expect. Nervous, anxious, excited.
I don't know what to expect because I've never been in your position before.
Well, pretty much all of the emotions.
Yeah. So you punched your ticket last week, feeling good about it. How much effort this past week leading up to Martinsville? What was the split on your focus of Phoenix versus Martinsville?
Oh man, I would say probably 80-20.
Yeah.
I've got to live it both ways now, right? Like this year we were able to win a couple weeks early, or I guess, 2 weeks early. And then last year we didn't even think we were going to make it until the checkered flag at Martinsville. And last year it was the complete opposite. Like we didn't even use the word Phoenix. It wasn't in our vocabulary until post-race Sunday at Martinsville. And then this year we didn't even really use the word Martinsville. We just kind of went Vegas, Miami, Phoenix, and skipped over Martinsville. So definitely our focus has been on that place.
Man, you're no stranger to the situation that you're in right now, leading up to Tuesday. We're 5 days away from another shot, a race for a championship. So what are some things just in your own preparation that are a little bit different from last year?
That are different from last year?
Yeah.
Just the amount of time and just feeling prepared. You know, last year going into Martinsville, I was 180 points beneath the cut line, right? So it's like you don't even think about racing for a championship going into Martinsville. You're just focused on Martinsville, and then all of a sudden the checkered flag flies and you're celebrating Martinsville, and Monday comes up and it's like, oh crap, we have the biggest race of my life that's happening in 7 days, and you have to leave Wednesday, and it felt all very cramped. Just the preparation for Phoenix, which is the most important race, felt very cramped. And this week it was a lot more, or these past 2 weeks, I guess, has been a lot more just methodical, and you know, you have time to like look at film and just focus on one event rather than trying to cram it all in a couple days.
Well, I've talked to your crew chief, Adam Stevens, and that was what he said too. I think it helps him from that standpoint.
I imagine it helps Adam more than it helps me, honestly.
Yeah. Because from a setup standpoint, like, I don't know, do you think it's an advantage? Everyone thought Cliff Daniels had this incredible 2-week advantage, and then you kind of had a little lead time too back at the shop.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Ironic or not, the 22 won the championship last year after winning Vegas. So it's definitely not going to hurt. And you know, you guys ask about my preparation, but like literally Adam and the engineers are just running simulations of Phoenix. Like, how do we make the car a little bit better on entry? How do we make it a little bit better on exit? And yeah, it's
those guys are looking for a hair on a gnat's when it comes to those little schoolgirl lines.
Absolutely.
Now you got a little bit of pressure now that you accepted our invitation to come on the show, because we are 100% in our championship guests of the week leading up to it. So Joey was here last year in studio. My man won the championship. So maybe it's Stacking Pennies good luck.
I like that. Hopefully I can keep it up.
I hope so too. But there is a little bit inter-show rivalry right now. I don't know if you felt this mean mug
this
he's
is
been giving you over here. This is awkward.
There's a Phoenix elephant in the room.
I haven't looked at you one bit.
Yeah,
I saw you over there looking at sizing them up.
It's more frustrating. Last year Martinsville, because we were like
we were racing against
4 or
each
5
other,
pit stalls away.
Yep.
And I kept trying to eyeball Jackson Gibbs because we both were having a great day on pit road, and I think we left the last one. We were like, I think you matched. Like we just kept matching each other all day, but it was so fast.
It was proper
last year.
But
yeah, that's, I mean, to be able to close the way you did last year, right? The Roval and then Martinsville. Homestead, you were down and out, right? And after Vegas, you made the comments like that was my shot.
Yep.
It was almost like an adrenaline dump. Like you almost looked a little bit defeated, but to start Homestead the way you did and almost go a lap down and then come back and come out of nowhere, like even we were like, where the hell did the 20 car come from?
Hell, you probably thought that yourself.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, no doubt.
So yeah, like I think I can't help but think, and this might be a little bit off the beaten path, but you're an Oklahoma guy, and like. Is the pressure that you guys feel like going to the Chili Bowl forever, does that help with this? Because like the sprint car races and the Chili Bowl races, they seem, especially that week in Tulsa, it just seems like super tense. Everybody does. Even Larson, like the best of the best, you see make mistakes. Like when you beat Larson there because he was looking at the big screen.
Yeah.
Right? Like do those situations prep you better for what you've been doing in the Cup Series?
Well, going back a little bit, you mentioned defeated, and that I was defeated after Las Vegas because Homestead, man, I don't know why, but it's just been a thorn in my side forever. And I knew going into the round of 8, if I or whoever was going to transfer, you were going to have to win or compete for wins every single race. That's what you guys did. That's what I did. The 5 car obviously won early. The 24 had so many points that he was in a different situation. But, yeah, I mean, to come that close to winning at Las Vegas and knowing what's ahead of us at Homestead, which is not one of my best tracks, and then Martinsville, we were good last year, but not so good in the spring. It was a tough loss to take. And, I'll say it again, that was probably the toughest loss of my career so far. And I'm very proud.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. And
Even if it was like a mega run at the end, too. Like if you would have had another lap.
it was close.
But
Oh, do you shoot the middle there if you got another shot at it?
yeah.
Dude, I don't think I could have. It was so the lap car that was down there was the 38. He helped me in 3 and 4, right? Because he took the bottom, and the bottom was the preferred groove. So the 5 car got off the bottom, and that allowed me to get a run on him. But at the same time, he I didn't feel confident enough to go down and then not run into the back of him. And Larson, of course, he's going to block me down. So, I thought going higher was my best opportunity because I didn't think that he was going to expect that, right? Like anyone would have expected me to drop down. So, it is what it is, and I'm glad that I was able to rebound the next week.
How many times you watch that?
Not many.
No.
Not many.
Yeah.
And
You
I
watched it one
probably
time?
won't.
I watched it once. Yeah.
Yeah.
Done. I
Probably
watched it
won't.
live. I was good.
Yeah.
I saw it in person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're the only Toyota represented in the championship 4. A bunch of your
Crazy.
teammates went home.
That
was
is
a bit
crazy.
of a surprise.
Yeah, I mean, it this year. So in 2022, making the Final Four was obviously huge. But going into 2023, we had Toyota came up with a new design on the cars. In 2023, I feel like the Toyota performance has been better than what we had in 2022, and it's shown that, right? Like all of us across the board have gotten better, and all of my teammates won. Actually, Ty didn't, but the other 2 cars won a lot of races. Ty had a great rookie season, and I thoroughly expected a couple of us to make it there, but just cards didn't fall for him.
So came in to Gibbs 1 year after your rookie season at LFR, pseudo Gibbs organization. But I wanted to ask, just not even growing up, being in those pre-race meetings, comp meetings, all these things you're learning from Kyle Busch, you're learning from Denny, you're learning from Martin Truex. How have you and your confidence built to where you feel like you, belong in those meetings, or do you feel like you contribute?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. And even to this day, I still don't necessarily know if I belong there or if my input or stuff is valuable to them. But certainly I've gotten a lot more comfortable in the role. And, I remember going in there for my first time in 2020, and literally it was Kyle, Martin, Denny, and it was just – and Eric Jones was in there too. Yeah, there was 4 cars and I was the 5th. And it was like, these are Hall of Famers and I'm just getting started. So why am I even going to talk? Why do they want to listen to my feedback? But certainly I've gotten more confident in the role, and I'm sure that it just goes by the weeks, right? If I have a week that I'm really competitive, I think my input is a lot more valuable. And then if I have a week where I struggle, then I probably don't talk as much and be like, all right, guys, you guys just –
You guys take it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you thought – I wanted to get your take on this. Did you hear what Coach said about a saddle and a horse and riding you for the next 20 years?
I did not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Saddle and a horse.
In a good way. They were like, oh, what do you think of C. Bell? He's representing you guys in the championship 4. He's like, I love Christopher. I've told you this before. He calls you a sponsor's dream. He's like, put a saddle on that kid. We're going to ride him for the next 20 years.
C. Bell, more like C. Biscuit.
I think that's probably the best compliment I could ever get.
I think that's pretty good job security. I'd love if my boss said that.
48 years old.
Yeah.
Like Dave Marcus out there.
Yeah, let's go. I don't even know how old. Who's oldest one? It's got to be Truex, right?
Harvick.
Harvick.
Yeah.
Oh, in the Cup Series?
Yeah.
Yeah, Harvick.
46 or 7.
46? Yeah.
So no one's 48 right now. No.
You should
Okay,
set,
then.
you
Good
could
for
set
you.
the record.
That's a
All
goal, bro.
Yeah.
Do you see
it's a long
yourself? I
ways
mean,
away.
like, you're a Toyota guy, though. You
I
don't
am.
see yourself ever leaving.
I mean,
Could you see yourself at Gibbs for?
absolutely.
Just
I mean,
one and
why,
done.
why would I want to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no reason to.
Pretty good freaking
Yeah.
place, man.
Yeah.
There's nowhere else I'd rather be. So.
Now,
Yeah.
how much? So it's a unique weekend. Obviously, there's the obvious ones, but we haven't had an hour practice with an open-ended
yeah.
adjustment period
Right.
since maybe the Coke 600. So, how much communication internally is there with the other 3 Gibbs cars doing some different setup opportunities where you can kind of do, I don't know, cast a wider net to kind of hone in on what is the best setup?
Yeah, so Corey, that's way beyond my pay grade. I honestly have no idea, but it is it's interesting and an advantage, and it is the same for everybody that you're actually able to work on your cars. And that's like I'm talking to my mentor, and I told him that this week's different because we actually have a real practice. And
Can
he's
you
like,
disclose who your mentor is?
Rick Ferkel. Yeah,
Who's that?
He was my first ever sprint car owner.
Okay.
He was like one of the first original World of Outlaw guys, and yeah, he's my life coach, my racing
Nice.
mentor. Yeah. So anyway, I was explaining to him that it's a real practice. And he's like, well, you get practice every week. I'm like, no, man. Like, basically, your setup once you leave the shop, that's what you got, and
Yeah.
you can put wedge in it, or I don't even know, maybe shot clicks, or I don't.
Yeah, and bar
And,
clicks, yeah.
yeah, stuff like that. But your fundamental setup is what it is, and this week is completely different. If we show up, and that's a great point to having teammates probably on different islands, on different setups, trying different things. So I don't know if they're going to do that, but it sounds good to me.
Well, I would imagine it's one for all and all for one right here because you're the one weaving that Toyota banner.
We'll talk about preparation. I heard. Is there any truth to the fact that you've ended every sim session that you've done this year at Phoenix?
No.
Really?
No.
So it's damn. Okay, I heard that one.
It's a
this
great
week.
story, though.
Yeah, I heard that like you would click over. Like, hold on, let me bust a couple laps here at Phoenix.
No, so man, I'm honestly not a big simulator guy. Like I
Yeah.
could probably count the amount of times that I've been there on one hand. Certainly the last 2 weeks we've put more effort, or I've gone there a lot more, but it's I don't know, I'd rather race. I'd rather race as much as I can, and yeah, so I'm not a big believer in
Larson's like that
simulator.
too. 2 dirt guys. Is there anything to that?
It's just not real. I mean, do you run the simulator, Corey?
Bro, he's
Well,
an iRacing hater to the core, dude.
A little different. Easy now. For my team, being that we don't get the full board of information, we have to use that because we have to use it as much as we can. And there's some weeks I'm on it for 6 hours, and there's some weeks I'm on it for 1 hour.
Okay, so you go weekly though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both
Yeah.
times I've called him
It's a
this
tool
week, he's been in the simulator, though.
Yeah, it's a tool for us. And, there's a couple guys at Hendrick that don't utilize it. There's a couple guys that do. Whenever those guys have a slot that they don't use, they'll call me up, and I'll just go cut some laps for
So
them.
if that's not your thing, then how do you get an edge, or how do you prep each week, or?
Yeah, just lots of data. I'm a big SMT guy. That's what I look at a lot. Film, and I also have my own notes that I go off of too. So between SMT and watching the races back, that's pretty much my prep work. But sometimes the simulator, if it is valuable, like road courses, I'll go every time. And so to get a visual of the track, the thing that I don't like about the simulator is it's just all an educated guess on how much grip you think the tires are going to have, how loose the tire is going to be, or how tight the tire is going to be. So you go in the simulator and you're fine tuning your setup to the tire model.
Estimation, yeah.
The tire model that they give us. And if the tire model's too tight, then you're going to show up and be wrecking loose because you just tried to free your setup up in the simulator and it's not real. So Adam does a really good job of using that, but yet using his notebook too. And it's been tough going into the next gen car because the notebook's empty, right? But now that we've been to Phoenix 3 times now, I'm sure that has a lot of stock compared to
when you're looking at SMT, so SMT, you're able to lay your driver inputs over anybody else's, right?
Yep.
Whether it's your leader, whether it's the guy running last. Is there somebody you find yourself gravitating towards to just see how you were compared to?
I mean, a lot of the time it's myself with the best team car, whatever that is, and then obviously the best car of the weekend. So this weekend it would have been the 12. Actually, the last 2 weeks, or you guys were really good at Miami too. But normally
somebody rained on our parade.
I did.
And he's not upset about it at all.
No shame.
Not one bit. Not one bit.
Is there a point, whether it be a race or a run or an instant this season? Obviously, I'm not giving you Homestead to use.
Okay.
If there was another instance throughout the course of the year that it went one way or the other, like a watershed moment that had to happen to continue your run, what would that be?
To continue my run. So are we saying postseason, like playoffs?
Up to you.
I mean, Texas was a big one. Like, Texas had a little bit of the Homestead feel. I didn't win the race, but I was not good. I was not good at all. I think we qualified in the late teens. We stayed out to get some points. I think it was in stage 1. And then from that point, we got buried, and I did not make my way up to the front. And it looked like we were going to have a 20-point day, and that's not going to cut it in the round of 12. And then the yellow flags came out, and I think we just stayed out, if I remember right, and maybe got a couple good restarts. And it was very similar to Homestead, where I ran in the back the majority of the time, and we ended up getting a top 5 out of it. So that was a good race for us. And I'm trying to think of one that goes the other way. They don't stick out as much, though.
Yeah, you try to forget those.
Yeah, you definitely try and forget those.
Absolutely.
You and Larson have shown each other a tremendous amount of respect, and he said that in the postseason. Like, he raced me with a lot of respect, and he always really has. At Phoenix, the way things work out is all fair and love and championship. Do you change the respect level that you give any of those guys?
I mean, I honestly don't know. I mean, if asking me today, like, no, I'm going to race everybody the same. But whenever you're in that moment, I don't know what's going to happen. So, like, I've never successfully used the bumper before in my life until Martinsville 2022, whenever I had to. And I gave old Briscoe the bump and shot him out of the way. So, I honestly have no idea. I can tell you today that I'm going to try and race everyone respectfully, but I don't know what's going to happen once you get in the moment.
Didn't you win your truck championship by 13 seconds?
That one was an easy one. Yeah, if that could happen again this week, that would be awesome.
I don't think that's going to happen on Sunday,
so
but might have to be a little bit more aggressive than you were in 2017.
How long have you been racing with Larson? Since you guys were kids, right?
Yeah, so I raced against him a little bit. It would have been in 2011. I was running, my team car out of Oklahoma, and he was in the KKM midget. And then it would have been 13 was whenever we really started racing against each other because we were both in the KKM car.
Have you guys always respected each other like you do now, or has it been a road to hoe to get there? Like, have you guys had some run-ins?
Honestly, we didn't start having run-ins until, later on. So, like, in 13, I remember we would race against each other, but we were on, I don't know what the right way to put it is, but we were like buds. Like, I remember he came out to Pete's house. I was living at Pete Willoughby's house in Indiana. He came out to Pete's house, and we, went on the lake together. And yeah, I'm trying to think of the first time we really ever had a run-in was maybe Turkey Night 2017 or 18. So several years of racing with each other on and off. And then, I don't know, we just got really competitive against each other, I guess. I don't know. Yeah,
like Logano's openly. Like, he even said to Corey one time when we were over there, he's like, when you start running better, I can't be your freaking friend, dude. Like, I can't do it.
Dude.
That
it's
a real thing. It's a real thing. And
so are you along the same thing? Because you've seemed always very measured, very focused on your career from the time I've met you years ago. What do you think about that, like, inner driver friendship? I mean, some guys are more chummy with others, but you seem like you keep to yourself and keep business.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, whenever I was dirt track racing, I would say that my best friends were competitors that I raced against. And I can't say that they were maybe we really weren't on the same level. So maybe that's why, me and Larson kind of had a little bit of a friendship, I guess, in 2013, and then it like became competitive. But yeah, I mean, Ferkel, my mentor, he always said, buddy, these guys aren't your friends. And he discouraged me tremendously from being friends with race car drivers. And, yeah, so at this point in my life, I can't say that my best friends are surely not race car drivers. I may have acquaintances on the track, but I think that's held true.
Dude, them old school, like, short track guys like Ferkel that raced for a living, they're built different.
They are.
They're built different than anybody. They're hard, dude, hard asses. But, yeah, so I go back to my long-winded Chili Bowl question. Does the pressure of that building that week help you guys, like, with maturity and pressure, how you handle it in the Cup Series?
Absolutely. And I think it's not just the Chili Bowl, but it's moments like the Chili Bowl. And I remember my first time ever driving for Keith Kunz Motorsports was at the 2013 Chili Bowl. And I literally was throwing up before my heat race. And that it continued. And just being in those pressure-packed moments, whether it's all the way throughout the year, all those different events. But that's how you get better at handling those situations. And, all those all the races that I did, all the high-profile events that I did growing up help make yourself better for moments like these.
What makes it, where is it just the amount of track time, like every time you're on the track is just so important? You can't have a slip-up all week? Is that what makes that such a pressure? Yeah.
I mean, for me, it was, and I'm sure for everybody, it's just the fact that it happens once a year. And, the Phoenix race, the championship race, it happens once a year. And I couldn't even imagine, like, the Olympics where it happens once every 4 years, right? There's
busting your ass for 4 years for one shot
like,
at it.
I think there's something to the rarity of the event that makes it have the pressure and have the intensity.
Would you like to ask your Chili Bowl question?
Oh, since we're on the Chili Bowl topic, I would love to ask it.
We can
Kinda
debate.
nervous about
Every
this one.
time I love watching it. Now, people ask, why don't you want to do it? One, because I'm 6'2", and the catch fence isn't tall enough for me if I want to drive a midget. But I digress. I watch it religiously, Tuesday, all the way through Saturday night, all the way through, by God, 2:30 in the morning.
Pissed off the whole time.
Pissed off the entire time because you know why? We have some 1988 C10 pickup truck pushing these things off. Why can't we put starters on these motherfuckers?
That's a good question, man. I don't know. I can be with you or against you on it depending on the day.
Be with me.
So,
Be with me.
the Chili Bowl, though, they do have their no red flag rule, which helps compared to some other dirt events.
You just keep it moving.
Yeah, like unless someone hits their noggin, right, and needs
some assistance.
Yeah, needs some assistance. you stay yellow at all costs. And honestly, the Chili Bowl's got probably the best organization of getting the car started out of any dirt track in the country. But yeah, I mean, there is something to that. That's
They
for
should
sure.
have starters.
It's not. Like, I ran a midget. Like, I ran a midget the first time 2 years ago, and I was like, tell me again how to start this thing? It is 2022, whatever it was. Like, there's way more efficient ways to do this. But, yeah, I don't know. Like, Kevin Swindell's really vocal about it being part of this.
Listen, hey,
very big part of the sport.
We've got a 3-time Chili Bowl champ on the show says there should be starters.
Call the Hans.
I'm not saying that there should be starters.
He didn't
I'm
say
saying
that. Don't
Who's
put
it?
words in his
Emmett
mouth.
Hahn? Is that his name, Emmett Hahn?
That's what I heard.
You asked
it
him
could
to
go
be with
either
you.
way, though.
Yeah.
It could go either way.
All we're saying is the Tulsa Shootout, those cars that you own, the 600s, have starters, and it goes way smoother. That's all we're saying.
That's all we're saying.
That's
we're just,
debatable.
we're trying to make the show go smooth.
That is debatable.
We're also wanting the show to go smooth for you this weekend. So from the time, what's your weekend look like? How planned out is it? How much time do you have for yourself, for your wife to hang out in the bus, to get a little bit like calm before the storm? So generally speaking, what's the weekend look like?
Pretty different. It is a lot different until I get my hour before driver intros, and then that's whenever it becomes all the same. Because Sunday morning, everybody has their appearances that they have to go to, but an hour before the race, that's time whenever you get your food, you get dressed, you sit on the couch and visualize, whatever you do, right? Mm-hmm. So my weekend has become tremendously different all the way up until that point, and then it's routine. But yeah, certainly just a lot of pageantry. I think someone used that word last year. That's what it is. I mean, you got a bunch of media stuff on Thursday, right? I think that's media day that we go out to Phoenix. I would go out there tomorrow for the Thursday media day. Friday, I think we got maybe like a I don't know, meeting with NASCAR or something, and then a different practice than what is normally happening, which means that we're probably going to have a team debrief with all the drivers and crew chiefs to talk about what's going on. Qualifying session Saturday will be pretty normal, except it's only 2 laps instead of having to practice with it. So have a bunch of family out there. That'll be a little bit different.
Where do you post them up at?
They're actually going to be staying at the Wigwam. That's where,
The Wigwam. Is that a teepee?
No,
What is that?
it's a hotel out there.
Hotel, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, like at the
I
racetrack,
figured
you have a suite.
he's not like Denny. He's not renting some big old mansion, having like 50 dudes in there trying to throw a 4-day bachelor party before he runs.
He just said he's get him a teepee.
No,
Where do you put him up at the racetrack?
It's like a nice resort, right?
Yeah, so racetrack, they'll be coming out and hanging out outside the motorhome. We haven't really got the plan yet for race, like during the race. We're not going to watch the race at, but
You mentioned on something real quick and you breezed by it, but I want to bring it back. So you mentioned visualization.
Visualize.
Visualization. God, why can't I say that word? What do you I can't say that word.
What do you
today.
visualize?
What do you visualize?
What are you looking at?
Right, when you're sitting there and you're laid back in the bus, because I do the same, but it's different for you.
Yeah, so pre-race, you're just thinking about your situation, right? If you're I don't know, like on the pole. Okay, I qualified on the pole. What am I going to do on the start? Am I going to pick the top? Am I going to pick the bottom? Well, if I pick the top, I got this guy behind me. If I pick the bottom, I got this guy behind me. How am I going to get them attached to me on a 1.5 miles? Or at Phoenix, it's a little bit that way.
Mm-hmm. Or cover the bottom at least.
Yeah. So, just and whenever you do that, it never works out that way once they wave the green flag.
Yeah,
but
the enemy has a vote.
1,000%.
Yeah, it's I don't know, just trying to focus on doing my job the best that I can and try and be prepared. Be prepared as much as I can be too.
Do you visualize the result?
No, I try not to. Every now and then, like you're like, oh man, what if I win? What if I win? And
Yeah.
I'm sure that this happens to every race car driver. It's like, what if I win? What's my celebration going to be? And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Back
can't
to
go
basics.
there.
Back to basics. It's got to be, how do you execute the start? How do you execute the run? How does the green flag stop happen? How does the next restart? And that's
You got to stack the pennies.
you got to stack the
Well,
pennies.
I don't know if you visualized the the celebration part, but I have heard after Chili Bowl it was Waffle House. After Truck Championship it was Waffle House.
It was.
We looked, and there are 2 within 20 minutes of the track. Is that where you end up if you are a NASCAR Cup Series champion?
I would imagine so. I don't know
Really?
at what time, but I would imagine we will probably end up there at some point if we win.
Big Waffle House guy.
Covered
Waffle House
and
guy.
smothered.
Yeah.
Chunk, top, hung over. Whew.
Is that a superstition? Like, are you superstitious at all? Do you have to?
My man's hungry.
Not really. I mean, it's just honestly, the NASCAR deal. Like, I have gone there after dirt track races, but after the Clash, Yoshi, which is the car chief on the 19 car, he's like, dude, we're going to Waffle House as soon as we land. And of course, it's a Sunday night race in California.
You have to go if you're dirt racing because it's the only place that's open after you clean the car.
That is true.
Like
That
you
is
have no you have options after you win the Cup championship.
Yeah.
But is there better options? I don't know.
Probably not. All-star special? Kidding me? I mean, you'd be the all-star if you won the big trophy.
Yeah.
So when did you do that with the 19 guys? You went after the Clash? Was it?
No, I didn't end up
They
going.
won it this
'Cause,
year.
Yeah, they won the Clash
Yeah.
this year, and they landed it, I'm sure.
Probably
it's
7 o'clock in the morning.
like, it was early,
Oh.
late or early, however you look at it. And they still all went to Waffle House. I'm like, you know what? That is freaking cool.
Yeah.
And I said,
Yeah.
anytime we win this year, we're going to Waffle House. And then Bristol Dirt. That was a late one, too, because it was a Sunday night race.
And it
then-
rained.
Yeah.
So you've done it. You've done Waffle House after every win this year?
After Bristol Dirt and Homestead, yes, we did.
Wow.
Yep.
Keep it moving.
There's a couple close by. NASCAR fans, we're letting you know now. Can't tell you which one of the two.
You got a
but one of the
50%
two.
shot at meeting,
Yeah.
meeting our potential champ at a
Yeah.
Waffle House if you pick the right one. I could sit here and talk the rest of the day, but I know you got places to be. Before you leave, I have 3 questions for every guest on the show. This is their first time on Stacking Pennies.
Yeah, thanks for the invite.
Well, thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
There's only room for somebody that doesn't compete for wins, and that's me. We actually have to have winners on the show occasionally to bump the ratings. Question number 1. If you had to pick one type of race car and one racetrack to race at the rest of your life, what do you race?
Oh, boy, that's a good one.
Not Homestead.
No,
Still hates that place.
It's not going to be Homestead, which I love Homestead. I
You
love
said
the
you
racetrack.
hated it after you won.
It's
the
been
pastel waltz.
It's been
It's
bad
the
to
pastel
me.
waltz.
But
not good.
I do really like that track. But anyway, I would say I would love the opportunity to run like, I don't know, maybe a 2000s Cup car or maybe in the 90s, something like that. Like one that you're actually on a bias-sply tire. I think they were back then, right?
Early 94 to be exact.
Yeah,
90s.
like, and I know this is a little bit later, but like just seeing the Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon at Atlanta, where they're just literally drifting a
Laying
Cup
black
car.
marks.
Yes, on a mile and a half. I think that was maybe in like 2010, 2011. I don't know, but though, I guess those style cars at Atlanta, that would be really cool. Just anywhere where you're. I love high speed, so intermediates are awesome. I love high horsepower. And I love sliding around. So that
was that era.
That Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon video will always be burned in my head of watching them drift at a mile and a half.
You're not getting off that easy. You got to pick one track, though.
Okay, well, then I'm going to go Atlanta.
Old Atlanta?
Old Atlanta was my P1 favorite.
Yeah.
And actually, Old Texas was right there.
I
too.
agree with that. Texas was freaking awesome.
So, yeah, between Old Texas or Old Atlanta.
And then like a late 2000s Cup car.
Yeah.
I like that
That's a
answer.
good one.
Question number 2. What is the most embarrassed you've been at the racetrack?
Ooh, most embarrassed I've been at the racetrack.
Any racetrack ever.
So, I mean, whenever I was young, I was at a really big micro sprint race, and it was in the dash. Thankfully, it wasn't in the feature, but in the dash, I thought the white flag was a checkered flag, and that one was bad.
And pulled off like Mark Martin?
I didn't pull off, but I slowed down and everyone passed me.
Oh, no.
Yes. So
Trophy dash, though, so generally it's 8 cars racing for the top 8 spots.
Yes, that's right. It was in the dash. It was set in the lineup, so it wasn't the feature.
Yeah.
But that one's burned in my head for sure.
How old were you?
I was 16.
I saw
now,
the
who would
Reddick
be the one?
The Reddick
The
one.
Reddick one the other day.
I'm
He's
telling
like,
you,
good job,
I don't even know
guys.
if I'm looking at the right camera or not.
That's the one to look at
But
right there. Tell it to him.
It happens to every race car driver. It happens to every race car driver.
The best.
That's right.
On that radio communication, Randall Burnett, you can hear he's like,
Go, dog!
He's like, guys, so white flag, dog, go! Oh, frick! Right, yeah, it was just.
Oh, sorry.
That's so tough.
Have you done that
dog.
before? Please tell me you have.
Well, unfortunately for me, there's about 12 people across the white flag before I get there, so I generally have an idea what's going on. No. But who would
Never
be
done that. It's crazy.
No. Who would be the one to choose your ass after that?
At that time, it would have been either my dad or it was either my dad or my mechanic, Billy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How old were you?
I was 16.
He's only 16 years old.
Randy LaJoie would have 2 more years left of chewing before he let that one go. How old are you now? 30?
32.
Yeah, it'd be about 20 years of chewing.
Oh, dude, I've had it.
Yeah, it would have been bad.
Decades of chewing, for sure. All right, question number 3. That was a good one. Question number 3. If you had to, we're leading up to your second opportunity to chasing a Cup Series championship, but if you had to lose every single one of your racing memories up to this point and keep one, what do you keep?
Wow, that's a deep one too.
That's why I think about these questions.
Yeah. So, can I give you a couple examples?
Yeah, and then we'll narrow it down to one.
Yeah. So number 1 is my first Chili Bowl. That one is obviously.
What year was that?
That was 17.
Okay.
Pretty self-explanatory. I grew up in Oklahoma. That was like my race,
Yep.
right? Number 2 is a little bit more off the wall. My first win in New Zealand.
Okay.
And it was actually
410 sprint car?
It was
or
a midget.
Okay.
It was a midget. It was my first race overseas, and it was on what they call Boxing Day, which is December 26th. And the place was packed. It was at Western Springs.
Dude,
and
those places over there are sick.
They are.
All
They're
the grass in the infield. There's like pristine
beautiful.
tracks.
Beautiful. And I remember just winning and flying the American flag, and the place was absolutely jam-packed. That one's burned in my head. And then number 3 was my first World of Outlaw win. That one was at Jacksonville, Illinois, with me and the Fox brothers, Brad and Steve Fox. We showed up with a little 24-foot trailer and one car and won that sucker.
Who'd
That
you
was
beat
cool.
besides everybody?
Dude, it was a legit top 3. I beat Pittman and Schatz.
Oh,
And
wow.
Pittman and Schatz, I think, had combined won like the last however many championships maybe.
Yeah. So you beat the big dogs that night.
That was awesome.
We're looking to beat all the big dogs here Sunday afternoon, buddy.
Got to, man.
From the Stacking Pennies crew, we wish you good luck. Christopher Bell, everybody, going for that 2023 Cup Series championship.
Good luck.
Thank you, guys.
Good luck, buddy. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.